sorry.
General mission or?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Today, we find ourselves in the city inside the trees, Atlanta, Georgia for DreamHack 2025 for the Clash Royale League World Finals. Hello, welcome, I'm Slate, that's my brother Andrew Guy. We got Joshua AC Sharon, Jackson 2CJ Walla here to bring you the premiere event of the Clash Royale season. And Andrew, I know I am absolutely pumped for this field we have today.
Oh man, that opening video gave me chills. I am so excited to be here. What is up, Atlanta? We have a killer crowd behind us, and the lineup today is absolutely 3 days of action, one champion, $500,000 on the line. We are so ready to go.
We can't wait to get into it, and we have 12 of the best players on the planet. It feels like every single year we say this, the field gets is the best we've ever seen. If you look at these 12 players, across all of them, we have 37 total World Finals appearances.
37 in that is absolutely insane between these 12 players. You have Muhammad Light making his 5th appearance in a row. You have our both of our 2-time champions in Mo and Luby here. We have former world champion in Igor, and of course the new players that are being thrown into the fray. They've never been on the CRL World Final stage before. In Ian and Frontier Guard, I cannot wait to see what everyone brings to the table.
This is going to be absolutely insane, and of course, they have to go through the gauntlet. Andrew, walk us through our flow.
That's right, one player double elimination bracket that long the top 4 players get points. Get that ever important first round vibe. This goes so far when you talk about World Finals and how steep competition is. Best of 3 duel mode, if you don't know what duel mode is, you can't repeat any cards through any set. But we also have best of 5s in our lower bracket, upper bracket, and our grand finals. So you have really got to put in your work. You've got to work that decksmanship. And of course, the last player standing is crowned the greatest in the world, and a fat $200,000 paycheck to go with it.
Of course, all of them want to hoist and wear that crown, but the prize money is serious here. And as you see, the step up when you get into that 3rd place match, that 2nd place match, that 1st place match, a single best of 3 or 2 of those if we have a repeat for $100,000 to hit that $200,000 grand prize. And of course, the Pharaoh himself, 2-time world champion, knocking on the door of $1 million in total prize pool in his career. He could do that here this weekend.
It's just crazy to think that your 3rd place match is worth $50,000 and that 2nd place match $100,000 in just 1 or maybe 2 best of 5s. Absolutely insane when you talk about the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure is mounting. Of course, we have lots of players who have kind of big milestones in front of them. As you mentioned, Muhammad Light, 2 world champions, but there's also another guy with 2 world championships here, and that's Luby.
That's right, Luby has been so impressive. He's been grinding, he's been playing more than he ever has in preparation for World Finals in the past, which is a really scary thing to hear when you talk about a guy that, as we just said, has already won 2 World Finals. He took a year off, he's back, he's better than ever, but of course he's got to go through the Pharaoh and absolutely elite stack of competition. I mean, the competitors here, like you said, we say it every single year, but I do believe this is the steepest it's been.
It is definitely steep. Even when you talk about the players who haven't been here before, Frontier Guard, qualifying to the China tournament, every single pro here says he doesn't have to level to compete. And then you have playing on home turf.
That's right.
Finally, a world finalist in 77, a part of this tournament at last. And I know there's a lot of fans here tonight who want to see him go.
Yeah, the man on his home court, he came to us last year in the lobby in Finland. He goes, I'm going to make World Finals next year. Here he is, first man in with the gold ticket, which you guys can see. Those are our 4 players in the first round 5. Mo Light, Sub, Ian, and Pedro. They'll all be waiting to see who they have to face off against, but being thrown right into the fire. We got Casualty or Igor, our former world champion, going up against Sandbox, making returning to World Finals, Frontier Guard, who you were just talking about, who has been very impressive all week long. Vitor, who has made 5 of the last 6 years of World Finals, which is so impressive. He squeezes in the LCQ, and then Rich, we got 4 more guys here in this lineup.
I am so pumped for match number 3, Adriel and Ruby. That one could go either direction. Of course, 2-time world champion against now 3rd appearance here, or 2nd appearance here at World Finals. Adriel has been so good for so long. And then maybe the most exciting matchup of the day, the most unpredictable one. Lucas and Sam. We go old school to the hair that don't care against the mad scientist himself. That one is going to be an absolute bang.
I mean, we're talking about the meta right now. Everyone's talking about how heavy it is, how beatdown is the best thing out there, but that's not exactly true. There is great cycle out there. There's great control out there. Beatdown might be favored in the moment, but there's so much new in the game. When you talk about evolution, you talk about tower troops in the competitive scene. There's just so many variables. I don't envy the coaches. I don't envy the analysts. And you talk about coaches and analysts, that last match, they don't have coaches, which makes it even crazier. I absolutely love it.
Well, of course, Luke is the only player to go back-to-back monthly finals without a coach, so we'll see how he does with that one here. But, you talk about that meta stuff. Remember, this isn't ladder. This isn't ranked. You have to play dual mode. So as you go through and you start burning cards game over game, the meta shifts. We see how day by day mini metas form, and Cycle's going to be a significant part.
Yeah, when you talk about the competitive scene, the meta out in the world is not the same as one in the competitive weekend. It always changes, and I'm very excited to see how it evolves as we get into our very first match in our 2025 World Finals.
Let's get things kicked off. I cannot wait. Let's hear it, Atlanta. We're start things off. Igor and
Introducing the best Korean player in the world. Everyone, give it up for Sandbox! And Igor's opponent, the best Korean player in the world. Everyone give it up for his adversary, Sandbox!
And to start things off this World Finals, you could not have 2 players who are more different in personality, in mentality, in gameplay style. Andrew, you sat down with both of them, and you know firsthand how different these two guys are.
I mean, you could just tell by their walk-ins, right? Igor's stone cold, staring down the barrel, ready to go, ready to get in front of that phone. Sandbox on their side, doing what he needed to do back in 2022, or back in 2023, when he was like, I need to get more confidence when I'm on stage. I need to figure out a way to build that confidence so that I'm just doing the thing that I do best, which is play the game. And you can see already he's hyping up the crowd, he's feeling himself, and I absolutely love these answers from Igor. I mean, it just kind of punctuates what we're talking about.
How do you prepare for high-stakes matches? I don't. What do you think that sets you apart? Nothing. Right? This dude, seriously, we have been talking about it all week. He is so ice cold, does not care about anything. And yet that translates to his gameplay. When you see him on stage, there's this complete lack of kind of registering anybody else, anything around him. It's just, I'm going to do what I do, aka Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely. You sit here and you talk about Sandbox, you talk about his practice, talking about Royal Giant. A lot of people think that Sandbox is a beatdown only player. He's very strong right now. Showed up a lot in the 20-win challenge, but he told me he's been working cycle over his 20 wins that he got, he did with cycle that's been kind of control. And yeah, Igor on the other side of it. We got to see if we can get through the bullshit in this of his deck pitch. He's a guy that has always been, I'm going to play what I want, when I want. I don't care if you know what I'm going to play. I'm going to play it, and I might not win it. But this is not the place to do it.
And those of you at home who don't have the same experience with the CRL history that we have, yes, the name on the screen might be has it with a K and a Y, but that's Igor. That's Igor from 2019 World Finals, who came out on the live stage for the very first time and swept King of the Hill, shut it down the whole way. That's the guy who came out and did that.
And you want to talk about being involved yourself in World Finals. Well, you can't qualify anymore, but you can go to event.supercell.com/Clash Royale to get in your predictions, just like we got in our predictions. And of course, we know you guys love it. There will be rewards out there in the world for you. And as you can see right here, Igor or Cassidy at 36%, Sandbox at 64%, so the recency bias of how much more Sandbox has shown up over the last couple of years, whereas Igor has not been at World Finals since 2021, where he got third place, which I feel like a lot of people forget that he got third place in 2021.
Behind just Mohamed Light and Moody. So you talk about that top three in solo at that time. Let's take a look at our predictions here, who we're picking for our first one. I think we got your prediction on first, Andrew.
Boom! I am going back to, first of all, I will never ever root against the Border God. I was there in 2019. I saw the 1 HP match and I saw him come out and absolutely blow the world away. I'm going to you.
Let's go ahead and see mine real quick. And yep, we're both going. No slight here on Sandbox. Sandbox is an absolute killer. But in this case, we got to take back mentality. You saw the lockout. You saw what we saw. The big question for me is, has Sandbox called those nerves?
That's the cast.
How do you prepare for this match? Igor says, I don't.
I don't. And as you can see right here, we all went with Igor or Cassidy, other than Juicy, who was actually really surprised that that he was the only one to pick Sandbox. Now, in recent history, Sandbox has actually had the edge over Igor. You talk about them leading all time. Igor's only won 37% of their matches. Sandbox has taken those points. He's taken it even this year in CRL. So, recency bias confirms that.
Absolutely, and we'll see, of course, in just a couple of moments how that bias comes out to everything as we've got our first match. I believe we're ready. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the opening match of the 2025 World Finals. Igor and Sandbox. Let's go! And here we go. Game number one now. Looking at what Igor's been doing in gameplay for a while, my suspicion is that Sandbox and his coach are going to plan to do two things: to cover cycle first and Royal Hogs. Royal Hogs Fireball Bait has been one of Igor's go-to opening decks, so I would not be surprised if Igor's not as usual style to Sandbox maybe having a Mega Knight.
Is that a furnace tower?
Might be going on.
They're both going comfortable. They're coming out right away. You see that when you see the kid.
It's Evo Mortar.
Trying to get that.
Wow, RG's hard counter.
Possible, and there's the RG. You see that much else out there and in the world. So very excited to see the two guys play their two color decks in game number one. It's a great way to kind of pacify those nerves.
We'll see Evo Ghost. First moving into today's World Finals, the Evo Royal Ghost is an absolute monster.
And I really enjoy this deck. I also really like the fact that things have changed in Clash Royale. You can have more than just one champion on the board. Obviously, the most recent place champion has the ability. But this has made the Goblin Stein come back into the meta a lot more. This has made Harsher Queen pop back in.
Oh my god!
Cannoneers,
They know these things.
multiple champions
This is a
on the
bomb
board
standing
that want the
6-7.
best of the world use that to their advantage.
And a slight swerve here from Igor as the ladder deck he's been playing was also a Mortar Miner deck.
I gotta play Furnace Tower.
He's playing Mortar Miner Skelly King with Poison. There's also a Musketeer in that deck, so a little surprising to see maybe this adjustment, but also the finals want to be less predictable.
And with the lightning
Girls, they have to be perfect.
if I stop that.
I gotta be. They turned into
Goblin Stein that far away, the monster dies, but no ability usage.
And you have to use the arrows on that Evo World Ghost just does so much damage when it's not touch. And the good thing, though, when we talk about Igor's matchup more than it's really difficult to get to. When you're talking about how Sandbox can be able to break through. They can throw almost a 50 defense against RNG a lot of the time, but you've got 100 plus doesn't have to be close. He still had this year as well. So you can see right now, maybe on top of RNG doesn't have to defend anymore. E-Spirit comes down and comes out of cycle. So you see a very, very clean defense. And that fish really going down, back for another one here, in the middle, mine to the outside. Monster pulling for the center. When that cannon on the left-hand side, has to force out that little giant. Well, shoot in the head from Igor in that direction. Yeah, I mean, I think Igor probably was getting a little more focused on this defense than he wanted. He would love to hit that ability on the right-hand side because that monster got to the tower. But he knew he was maybe down a little bit in the elixir, and if he had done that, it would be hurting. Feels like he's having to spend a lot because 24-81 with RP's on the right-hand tower, Sandbox now the left-hand side. Trying some work for the ghost. There's a deep tower activation, which could limit some of the things for those miners as we go on. This deck that you go to the cycle of it, solving heroes here to save that real ghost. You go. First and second. Maybe third. There it is. Third position. Now there's 14 opposite lane. And Sandbox has taken control of game number 1 with only 1 minute remaining.
The risk-reward play does not pay off for Igor. Now, he might not be able to get that in time before the RG decided to go to the right-hand side instead. But as we go into triple elixir, final minute here, in a mortar miner deck, Igor is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is basically you're counting only on minor damage. You need that mortar to defend. And then, like I said earlier, this deck runs lightning a lot. That lightning helps you take care of the fish play. When you got that goblin coming across the bridge, you can lightning the fish with his rod. Then you can actually get damage on top of tower. Having arrows, you don't have that ability.
Final 30 seconds, lost on the left-hand side. Igor has forced to play defense. You're not going to touch on offense. I don't think there's a significant way for him to get this damage back.
No, I mean, there really isn't. Sandbox knows that he's just got to keep up the pressure enough to where Igor cannot get a big push going. And that fisherman just completely controls the board. It is such a nuisance. But again, we talk about the lightning, which is usually paired with the Nobelstein in this deck, not having that in game number 1. And now, number 4, the 2019 World Champion, October 2021, third place finisher, is going to have to find a way to turn this second round.
Big OT win for Sandbox to kick things off here. You see him going to his preparation sheet. Sandbox working with Game Saver as his coach. Saber not known for trying to snipe hundreds that much in the first round. Also covered warriors up.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a really, really great thing. You talk about not sniping hundreds, that is not a fun match. And it's like, I know I'm just like beating a dead horse here, but also the idea of having lightning out and the arrows in just made it so much harder for Igor to break through. There's not really a way to get that damage back with just the miner and only playing orders defensively and only defending against the monster. Because then your opponent's just going to put together a huge downward push. Because we saw Igor go risk reward, and it ended up being risk.
Risk indeed. Now the question is, where does Igor go next? Right, so he has to be a lot of that Piggy's Fireball main deck with the recruits. From the beatdown side, he has done some RG, but I'm very curious to see where he goes with Sandbox and Game Saver go their normal path.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've been running it, maybe just go heavy on beatdown, right? Slow the pace of the game down. If you've got lightning in hand, maybe you start to use that on the defensive buildings. You know, if Sandbox is thinking about pacing beatdown, you know there's going to be a lot of Alpha Tower in game 2. I know he's not trying to snipe anything. When you think about how game 1, he's playing his career, thinking about what's out now, Fisherman being out, now it's a lot of DPS, it's a lot of map control. Maybe there's a way for Igor to slow the pace down, break through, see small power, and the other those great rushes that you want.
Yeah, we will see. This is the hard part. For those of you who've never watched live CRL before, this is the part where both the coaches and the players really make a difference. That picking process, and it's so stressful there. Most of the year these players commit with their coaches and what they're going to call. Yeah, this time you saw the sheet that we saw Sandbox going to. He has progression listed there. He has all things that might play out. And this is the
yeah, and we've talked to coaches a lot, we've talked to players a lot this week, and Sandbox is a guy that is known for being very good at picking in the moment on live stages. Igor on the other side of it, it's not that he's not known for doing it well. It's just kind of that thing that I talked about at the beginning of the day where sometimes he just runs what he wants to run, regardless of whether that's the greatest thing, despite what's out. Right? A lot of people look at the A parts of their opponent, they build.
You need to hold the Ian 77 sign. I will when he pops up in the stage. I gotta hope he sees it.
He ran the same deck.
Yes.
4 times in a row.
I'm not saying that right now. My bag is way too fucking heavy.
Going back to World Finals 2020 or 2019, when he came out against Dandelion and ran more than game number 1, said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and do it."
Yeah, and I really like that they went comfort both here in game number 1. They both went some of this deck. A lot of nerves. Day 1, first one's out. We got a huge crowd here in Atlanta, so going comfort makes sense. Now it's all about where you make your money, and that's bouncing back and investment.
So players are getting themselves ready for our game. Here we go. Number 2.
Fucking sandbox! Feels pretty much like the number 1 and maybe number 2. And that chef just caused problems.
Berserker out first, Hog for Sandbox. So Sandbox flexing some of those skills he said in cycle early on.
Decent targets so far, obviously with the minions, that is a projectile. Talk about
What the hell?
furnace. It was okay.
This monk variation RG not as popular these days as before has been gone to the wayside, but as we just saw, people are playing the Royal Ghost in game number 1. It's become kind of the dominant version of RG. Available for him here in game 2.
Yeah, but I like his options. He's got the hunter, he's got the evil hunter, he's got the.
Or what in the mid ladder is this Sandbox running?
Fishwood all kind of control that hog. So Prince is an interesting pick, and I do like him. He's got strong single party DPS. People does get a handful of shots in here. 1937, lowest tower on the board for Sandbox. Eagles only got 7 elixir to deal with this.
Oh shit.
Hog is going to get a few. King Tower will win this match. And the DPS shuts it down early. 2369 to 1937 along that left-hand side as we pass the first half of our opening.
These guards are so great for Igor in this matchup. When you talk about being able to deal with the crits, surround the Mega Knight, get DPS on top of the Hog, the Spirit. These are all great ways to control what Sandbox is throwing at.
Curtis sets up in front of King Tower, will finish off that Barbarian as it pops out of the barrel.
I am excited for those who Igor does put the trigger on this spell. Something that Sandbox has to be very aware of. Guards to protect.
Just going to pull this all apart right
Yeah,
now.
that's perfect. You have the ability in. Prince can't do anything. Minions are off the board. Now you got an Evo for a G for across the bridge. Fishwood should be back in cycle to deal with the Mega Knight.
3 seconds regulation. Even when that count is going to knock that RG out of contention over and over and over again. Here we go. Right hand lane. Nothing there for him.
He's cleared up high. Guards
Nice.
down low. And luckily with that King Tower activation with minions, with the increased range on minions, you're going to see off to the right there. Sandbox takes the lead.
A lot of damage as we go into sudden death overtime. Now the lightning comes out. Pretty healthy fish boy can survive. And it will to back up. Here we go. Royal Giant down. Big moment for Eagle.
And MK's there, but obviously not the Evo to MK. We should be able to get a couple shots here from the RG. There's the second shot. This should be pretty easy cleanup. Hog Rider behind.
Yeah, just pulling the Hog Rider out's going to be difficult. Monk maybe gets a couple of punches here, does disrupt once, and Barbarrel has to come out. Shot very close. 14-17, 10-37, about 400 HP separating these two in the final 90 seconds.
And does get that ability just in time. Going to help with that Furnace. Going to help get some damage on tower. Furnace is off the board, so you don't have to worry about those Fire Spirits when you got the Princess Tower. Really nice stuff there for Igor when you talk about interactions.
Setting up the Prince in the back. Sandbox has been getting good value out of dual lane pressure. Fisherman's out early here.
And you got the fish boy to help him with Prince. Right now, Igor has all the answers. He's got lightning in. You don't need to get the damage in. You don't need to force the RG, but he still can get the RG down and create some more pressure. The big thing is you don't want to do that and then lose to a hog, a plus minions, plus whatever push on the opposite side of the board as we're seeing right now.
There goes the hog. Just here the hog. Get wrecked on. And wow, the arrows reflect. Huge.
Yeah, Sandbox was trying to.
Oh, yeah, another GG's.
Spirit late to clean up those guards, knowing that would be the way for the Hawk to break through. And that's exactly what you want. In our first set of the day, we're going to game 3. Igor evens things up.
You know, I wonder if Sandbox and Game Saver were trying to cover some variation of Fireball bait of that threat. They brought the Mega Knight out of that one. That is a possibility that they're looking at. Obviously, didn't get the matchup they wanted. The big thing is we saw that Igor Mega Knight shutting down the RG, but you didn't see any other real way to stop a real run.
Yeah, or really create a scary offensive push, right? The biggest ones was MK with minions, with Hog all on one side. We saw Sandbox try to break through, and Arts are just so good in certain matchups. We saw them time and time again, whether you're talking about the DPS, the direct DPS on top of the Hog Rider, dealing with the charge of the Prince, you can protect the Monk, and then obviously the Monk. I really love seeing the Monk. It was great to move the Mega Knight around, obviously deal with those minions. Really nice deck choice here from Igor in game 2.
And you know, you think about the situation, we talked about Sandbox flexing some of his cycle muscles here. This isn't a cycle version of Hog Rider. This is an average elixir of 3.9.
Yeah.
You don't get around that fast, and we saw those exchanges where he couldn't really punish. He couldn't out-cycle the Fisherman very well. We saw that great catch with the Fisherman on the Hog on the right-hand side, and he broke through a couple times early, but once that elixir started flowing, that advantage just evaporated.
Yeah, the big problem is when you have those heavier decks that are off meta, there's usually holes that you kind of can see in the armor. And Igor was able to kind of figure all that out early on, what he needed to defend, what was the biggest threat to him. When you have a deck that's more meta, even though this isn't the most popular version that Igor is running, it still synergizes really, really well. It has the ability to cover all things that you need. Oh, you can't get on top of the minions? The Monk can do that. Oh, you don't have a building? The Fisherman can do that. You know, there's just so many great ways to control because that deck is closer to meta than what Sandbox was running.
So now as we think towards game 3, lightning and arrows out on both sides. So you think about big spells, you're thinking primarily about Fireball, thinking primarily about Poison. Obviously, Miner no longer available for Igor in that Poison variation. And we saw Barb Barrel. Igor has one of a little bit of graveyard. Typically, you won't see Barb Barrel a graveyard deck once that's gone, although some people are running it with Igor Smoke.
Yes, you can still run it. It's just not quite as good. It's really nice to have that Barb Barrel as a tank that can get across the river 100% of the time to tank for that graveyard. I'm curious to see if Sandbox is going to go cycle. He talked to me about it in interviews. He says that people don't think that he can. We've seen two pretty heavy decks from him. He's been grinding cycle. He does still have Miner available, so I'm curious if that's when he wants to bust it out now. But remember, a lot of times in the highest level of competition, unless you're Pedro a couple of years ago, when you run Miner control, Miner mortar control, Miner poison control at the highest level, it's really, really unforgiving.
Well, he has all the pieces for his primary Miner poison cycle. So let's go ahead and see if that's the direction that Sandbox goes as we enter game number 3.
Winner goes on to face Mohammed Light. Person who loses here goes down to the elimination bracket, where we will be saying
Mohammed Light.
today.
Bomber and Valve against Drill. Great stuff for Sandbox picking here.
I was just going to say, it looks like a Drill, not necessarily mirror, but a Drill matchup. Igor also has a Valkyrie and Evo Witch to deal with.
What the hell?
And Archer Queen will do her job here in the middle. Ability activate.
I don't know what it is, but when I see a couple Archer Queens on the board, it just makes me nervous. The amount of DPS there, the ability to be able to drop that second one down, you get another instant ability, basically, which is really, really interesting when you talk about how it works having multiple champions on the board.
So both guys slowing down a bit as we get to 10, Drill out, and Sandbox cycling that snowball, wants the Evo variation in.
Yep, and that's something that Ego's going to have to note. and just recognize, okay, I have to keep track. Keeping track of snowball cycle when you are playing against Drill is the most important thing to do, period. You have to know what to drop when that Evo snowball is in cycle, so you can double drop immediately. He's going to want to cover with something like Ice Spirit plus Skellies, have his log available, or the Valkyrie available after that. Go cheap in the beginning so you can give the elixir and have it stay on the board, right? If you use Evo snowball against Skellies and Ice Spirit as opposed to Valkyrie, it's just a little bit different. So I'd like to see the Valkyrie drop second, or the log drop second.
Evo Witch, Snowball gonna go try to put that more in the range of the Queen. Great Ice Spirit from Igor. And now Queen ability, not a danger as she crosses the bridge. And the double elixir final minute of regulation. So far, nobody's really broken free this summer of that drill surfacing from the ground damage.
I really like this aggressive lead at the bridge because Igor's going to have to overspend. He's only got the really the Valkyrie is what you want to use to deal with the Queen in these moments, or if you have a Witch cycle early, but that poison is going to make him a little bit more wary about playing Witch in the back. So nice aggressive play there from Sandbox, and here's what we're talking about. Ice Spirit comes in early, Log comes in early actually, and now Igor is just going to eat some damage there as he's trying to make something happen on the opposite side of the board, but Evo Valkyrie plus Bomber, and there is very little damage done by Igor.
Sandbox having to go to 1 for this though, so now he's starting to build Elixir back up. We'll see if Igor can press the slight advantage.
Oh, and the Witch gets pushed back. So now she's got a tank. Now the Skellies are coming back.
Shit.
The Skellies are taking for the Witch. Witch is going to heal up, and she gets some great shots in. 2165, 2388. Evo Valkyrie activates King Tower. That is a great eating of damage from Igor.
Yeah, we talked about the risk reward not paying off earlier. Here it pays off in spades. As we go into sudden death, Igor with the lead, and that
One
very
shot.
important King Tower activation.
2362, 2165. 100 seconds remain in the first best of 3 in our 2025 World Finals.
Guards to cover Drill, Archer Queen on the right-hand lane, plays aside the chip. Sandbox really not making a decision here. He's just going to go ahead and get dual lane pressure.
And Evo Valkyrie coming in at the perfect time. Log is up to 39. Evo Witch does a great job on the right-hand side.
That ability when he's
Sandbox.
Sandbox will want back. Bomb
I think
back.
Sandbox is cooked.
But Val pulling it away. Rocky gonna come in on top of the bomber, and Igor is in the lead with a minute left.
What else would you expect for that last card? Igor, Rocket, a match made in heaven.
And Valkyrie in a great spot there. Gonna take, gonna clean up the drill, deal with the clean, deal with the opposite out. And now Sandbox maybe feeling a bit of the pressure, just kind of dropping at the bridge. Obviously doesn't want to give any rocket value.
Yeah, this is interesting. The Archer
Come on,
Queen trying to
Sandbox.
clear everything off. Gonna get some stats.
Yeah, that's another mistimed log there. We've got to see something to get on top of that first goblin, then the log just a bit later. But Igor's okay. He knows he has the rocket cycle game. Sandbox is the one that needs to make something happen in 20 seconds.
Point from
Come on.
Evo Snowball clear.
Yeah!
He has missed so many logs throughout game 1, or excuse me, game 3.
He has to both cover and have the time for this
Oh my god.
Sandbox staying in it, feeling the pressure, trying everything he could. Opposite lane, dropping at the bridge. Big pushes on the left, poisoning everything he could do to get damage on that tower. And then Evo with a slight misstep, the pressure from the skate, misses the log several times, but he misses the most important one in the final.
Oh, he didn't see the battle.
That last 20 seconds or so, maybe last 30 seconds, is the most surprising part of that match, right? I mean, I thought he saw those mistakes early on, but here he makes a couple mistakes in the worst one. And Sandbox absolutely takes control, stays calm, gets it done, left it out on the stage, Juicy. He's standing by the Sandbox.
What a fantastic match. The first question I just want to ask is, like, how are you feeling? The first World Finals match is over. How are you feeling?
이제 그 월드 매치의 이제 첫 번째 경기가 끝났는데 소감 한번 들어볼 수 있을까요?
제가 지금 이번 연도에 연습을 많이 해왔는데 그것을 보상받는 것 같아서 굉장히 기분이 좋습니다.
I have practiced really a lot for this tournament and it seems like it's worth it, so I'm really glad about it.
Awesome. Let's go. Yeah, give it up for him. Let's go.
I thought I could.
My next question is, in the first match, you were playing against Igor with one of his best decks. How did you break through? How did you win?
이제 첫 번째 매치 때 일본님이 제일 최고의 데크를 꺼냈는데 그거를 이기셨는데 어떻게 이기셨는지 한번 들어볼 수 있을까요?
저의 코치인 게임제트 세이버가 저 스스로 믿으라고 해줘서 이겼던 것 같습니다.
So during game, I like to keep in mind that my enemy is myself, so I just try to do my best, and I think that's how I won.
Give it up for Sandbox. Let's go. Good work.
Sandbox getting it done as our opener here. You know, there's already so much pressure at World Finals, but to be the first one out, that is always a little bit added pressure. We've seen it. We've seen it. And let's go back to when Mohamed Light lost in the first match of that opening World Finals. And that happens to everybody. Here we saw Igor fall, Sandbox staying strong.
Well, back in 2021, Igor did a good job in that lower bracket when he got third place. So that's not the end for Igor. You know, maybe getting those nerves, those jitters out, first match out. Those are some uncharacteristic misses from Igor. Now you've got to imagine that's our standing room only crowd here, adding that pressure when you talk about Game 3, Match 1, Day 1. First one out, first one down in the lower bracket. And you can see right here, it's not a mirror matchup. They're both playing drill. They both have that Evo Valve. We talked about the Evo snowball throughout. It's something you just have to be so on top of. It's so much harder to track cycle when you have this live crowd in front of you. When you're standing on stage in front of the band that you're going up against. And it just feels like Evo was just a little bit off every time that Evo snowball came in. You can see here, Igor going down the lower bracket, waiting to see who he's going to play. Mohamed Light and Sandbox will be going up against each other here in just a little bit. See the goated one and Sandy go head to head is going to be a great way to start our second upper round bracket.
And I'm fairly sure Igor's going to face, from that trifecta, the loser of Pedro versus either Lucas or OP Sam. So very interesting situation for him there, and that's going to be one of our elimination matches today.
Yes.
We're sending 2 players home on day 1 of World Finals. They can hang out, but they can't play anymore. Of course, that's a bit of a road down the road here today. Right now, we've got this great win for Sandbox, and one that I know has to feel good given his situation with nerves in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, he talked a lot about, you know, taking some time off and coming back to the World Finals stage. But a lot has happened in a couple of years. We've seen all of these players kind of grow up in the evolution of CRL. A couple of years can do a lot for you in terms of maturity and confidence. And as you can see, it really paid off for Sandbox up here. You know, you take game 1, you lose game 2 to your comfort, and then you come out game 3 in a mirror matchup against the former world champion. Boom, game in the bag.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of that action as it was pretty fun here to kick things off.
What's up, everyone? It's me, JC here, and I have Frontier Daughter with me. First question I'm going to ask you is, just tell me about the pride that you feel being the only person who represents your entire server.
我感觉我是千里挑一的那个人，整个服务器只有我一个选手，感觉挺自豪的，因为以前我都没有打过世界赛，
how does it feel to be one of the best in the world, competing on a live stage for the first time in Crash Royale?
感觉有一点点小紧张，有点紧张。
So who inspired you most on your journey to be where you are today in the water?
感谢啊，因为我觉得他是中国跑职业最好的选手。
A lot of people are going to be watching this. Is there anything that you want to say to your supporters?
I will try my best.
One of our two newcomers to the World Finals. He qualified for the CRCC competition. Welcome to the World's Frontier Guard! He's the winner of the LCQ. We know he can handle the pressure. He's the man with the kindest smile in the world. It's a Vitor 75! Let's go!
And welcome AC to the broadcast. Good to see you, brother. And welcome Juicy J to the caster's desk, man. What a crazy way to start our day with that first match.
I know, it was amazing. I thought for sure Casualty was winning that first game, but Sandbox with a huge breakthrough was wild.
Yeah, and right now we have two players with two very different stories in terms of World Finals. Victor making 5 of the last 6 World Finals. He's had great success when you talk about the World Final stage, but technically he was one of the last men in, just like Frontier Guard. So at least in 2025, those stories are very similar. When we weren't sure who those last spots would be, here they are facing off against each other in round number 1. And you see two very different, I guess, histories with these guys in the sense of our familiarity with them. Frontier Guard is something that we don't know a lot about. Vitor is someone we've seen for a very long time. What do you think about how these two match up?
Man, I've been talking to all the players about, what do we think about Frontier Guard? Is he good? Apparently he's been doing really well in practices, either going even or actually winning some of the matches in his practices. I was talking to Vitor, is he prepared? He said he is very prepared. He's working with his coach. And he's also feeling confident, so this was a tough victory.
Yeah, Vitor goes through that lower bracket run at the LCQ. You can see right here, he's talking about mentally preparing for matches, controlling his breathing is so important. It is very, very important when you talk about on that live stage. You don't want to overheat. You don't want to feel like you're hyperventilating. But he showed he has nerves of steel in that LCQ going through that lower bracket run. He was able to go through Coco, Wallace. He went up against Clown, who is an exceptional player. I mean, so was also Coco. And then, of course, going in back-to-back, he did an upper bracket grand final reset against Viper. So when you talk about having to put it all together, Vitor is a guy that can do it. And you can see right there, okay, first of all, shout out to the graphics team. I absolutely love this. So you can see right there, 5 World Finals appearances here for Vitor, the veteran, going up against the newcomer, Frontier Guard. But he's no slouch, as you said. He's been getting a lot of respect from the players out there. He went 3-0 in his finals in that championship. So he's definitely a guy that can put it all together. But can he do it here on the live stage?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the biggest questions. I was speaking with the Chinese translator before today, and he was saying that Frontier Guard is definitely feeling a little bit nervous, and that's something that Vitor, I feel like, doesn't even feel anymore. I mean, 5-time World Finals. Yeah. He has so much experience. The only question is, can Frontier Guard handle the heat?
Yes, he can! Yeah, people are talking a lot about how he loves to play bait. I'm not sure when you want to come that out with. But let's take a look at the predictions from chat. I'm very curious to see where you guys landed. And 63% to Vitor, 37% to Frontier Guard. Feels pretty appropriate, I guess. I actually thought it was going to maybe be a little bit farther in Vitor's favor.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think this matchup could be a little bit more even, but I mean, once again, this is Clash Royale. Anything can happen.
That's right. It's interesting when you don't know a lot about your opponent. So talking about their predictions, like we said, you guys can get those in event.supercell.com/Clash Royale. Now our predictions, and I'm curious to see where we all lined up. I mean, I wonder if we all picked the exact same guy, or did someone go for the dark horse in Frontier Guard? Let's see it. What do we got? What do we get? Okay, yeah, no surprise there. I did pick that for myself. Juicy?
Vitor.
Okay, and where did Rich and Josh end up? Did anyone go for the odd man out? They didn't. We're all going with Vitor, which makes a lot of sense. We've known him a lot. He's had a lot of success. I'm curious about what he's going to be playing in the meta. People talk about how he's more comfortable right now, but in general, these guys that we say are more comfortable with one archetype, or how this meta only favors their playstyle, when you've made this many world finals, I think that doesn't really add up.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like online is one thing, playing your comfort, playing in the cycle, Frontier Guard, like you said, is known for bait. I've talked to a lot of coaches. The idea is that probably stick with comfort, try to push off those nerves a little bit, try and get some momentum off of that. But if you're Vitor, you also know that, and you're ready. There's a lot of mind games.
Vitor back in 2021 got 4th place when they lost to Ponos, who had Luby on their roster. In 2021, he ended up in the 13th to 16th spot. 2022 was 7th and 8th, where he lost to Mo. And 2023, 9th to 12th, where he lost to Adriel. So you talk about who he has run into on his journey in CRL, and that's a pretty steep competition. And here we go, game 1, set number 2, Frontier Guard and Vitor 75. Let's go!
So excited. I love being on the desk, seeing what these players are going to do. This is what it's all about. This is what we all came here to see. And both players leaking some elixir.
Yeah.
Maybe see what the other will do.
Makes you think that they're going to go a little bit.
No way they're leaking into a double.
Not going to go bait for Frontier Guard game 1, which I like. You never want to play your comfort this year in the last match, where they both just went comfort in game 1, and it was a very great time. You see wall breakers come out early, so maybe just kind of holding for a minute. Evo Ghost, no surprise there. Zappy's so strong in the meta right now. You see, they were everywhere in this championship.
Super versatile. So it looks like maybe 1.9. No, he has the minor. So minor Evo wall breakers. Evo goes. Vitor looking like gold.
I was just going to say, what an interesting combination. He's got the mini P.E.K.K.A, he's got the Skelly Drives with the Zap, he's going to kind of go out his own and it's going to be tough for Frontier Guard to break through. He's going to have to get a lot of damage in single, and then rely on minor damage, most likely throughout the rest of the game.
Both Barbarian Barrels coming out to defend the Gold Ghost. Very common idea. Positive elixir trade. Looking at the matchup in total, I do like it for Frontier Guard with the poison from the Zappies, but he needs to have perfect defenses, and he needs to make sure he uses his Evo wall breakers actually effectively on defense to do those big calls.
There's our first Evo Baby Dragon of the day. That's going to be a double connection here. Wow.
Damn.
That damage when you go up the back, and there it is. I guess I do this sometimes.
Evo goes to the bridge, trying to pressure with the minions.
That's a big amount of pressure here. Skelly Drive's coming to clean things up. And E plus goes, that's going to basically be tower down here with Vitor. Well, we've seen this before. We talk about beat down decks. You just don't want that roll ghost to get too much damage on that golem.
Skelly Drags do take it out. Came on defense, the skeletons, and there's the poison. The poison here is so strong offensively, slowing down everything while taking out the skeleton dragon.
Final elixir to deal with this mini P.E.K.K.A plus Baby Dragon push. The retargeting though, not going to chase that wall breaker down. And here we go. Just play it at the bridge. Pressure at the bridge. Mini P.E.K.K.A gets pushed. And now we got an Evo Ghost on the board. This is a huge push for Frontier to deal with.
Oh, poison is missed. 28 seconds on the clock. The pressure's here, and here's the Evo Baby Dragon. Everything's going to start moving really quick towards that tower. But the
it cleans up everything. It cleans up holes. We can see on Frontier Guard's face. He knows this is all that's sewn up. Baby Dragon is on tower, but it's not going to be enough. Big spell, not enough. 576. The new
Holy
shit.
shit.
Number 1. And the crowd loves it.
impressive stuff from Frontier Guard. You can see with a little thumbs up at the end of the match there as well. Yeah, he definitely looked a little nervous, but this is what you're talking about. That's the game plan.
I love it.
Play cycle game 1, use your comfort, get a nice win under your belt, and now he's looking really good.
So Juicy, talk to me about what you're talking for Vitor. When you're talking about rolling up in the back, knowing, I mean, it was very clear. I said it on broadcast. He ate all that damage, and he's just trying to gain elixir there. And then his opponent sees, all right, you want to go look in the back this early on? I'm going to go pedal the metal at the bridge. What should have been different?
Okay, I've been playing a lot of Golem over the last couple days.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah, but I think the biggest, like most common idea that I like to do is go Golem in the back in the ops lane for getting damage. Because when you tower trade, you don't want them to be able to play cards on your side of the map, like those wall breakers at the very end, in order to kite back and stall for time. That was one of the biggest moments in that match.
Yeah, if you're talking about the idea that you're going to lose that tower no matter what, then you go into a 2-tower game with Golem. Still not sewn up and done. Still doesn't mean you're going to 100% take it, but exactly what you're talking about. Just not really having a Princess Tower to help. All those things being put together. Really, really nice stuff there by Frontier Guard, and then you wonder with Vitor, maybe the nerves, maybe just not knowing the matchup as well. I really like that call.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic match once again. Anything can happen. Vitor's still in it. This is Duel's best of threes, but I mean, once again, the momentum. Clash Royale's a game of momentum. Frontier Guard really has a lot of different options now, and you know, Vitor, he's kind of in the corner. He's going to have to make some really precise plays.
Yeah, and you talk about those nerves, right? Vitor coming out, even seeing that graphic with 5 World Finals appearances. You know, it's got to be a weight off of Frontier's chest.
Raw tell all the time, but who cares about practice if we're just going to be clever and think of something crazy that nobody else has before? And I mean, wow, 4-card cycle, he goes from a 1.88 average cost to 4.38.
That's the versatility.
That's the versatility that we've been talking about.
Looking at these decks, once again, Hockey 2 versus E-Giant.